All right, here's the juiciness of the day. So you can see we do have a green day today, but we are still in this downtrend. And even if I back out, let me back out a little bit, we're still in a downtrend because we haven't taken out these highs up here. So today we did have a rebound after the sell-off yesterday, and I still had my targets. You can see these dots up above, the fair value gap below, downside target. All of these were valid targets today and have been for a few days now. So on the daily, we're down. Let's go to the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, we're down because we haven't cleared the prior highs. Our pre-market high almost cleared it, but not quite. So I was looking for something to clear the high up there to keep going higher. Now you'll notice right here, I don't really have an arrow to point to, but right here is this 4 hour fair value gap. This was my closest target that I had for the day if we got there. So let's look down at the 1 hour, and that was to the low side. To the high side, you can see the one up here is way up here, like 300 points up was my closest target up there. But you can see we just barely put in the pre-market high, and then we almost popped up above it at market open before selling down. So everything on the 1 hour was down. So the daily's down, the 4 hours down, the 1 hour's down. So then let's go to the 15 minute. Now the 15 minute from yesterday is up, but from the prior days we were down. Now when you have this happen, the trend lines are going to curve. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Let me turn on the indicator. And you're gonna see the trend line is up. So we're showing a green trend line, blue rather in this case. So it's showing an up market until we get into market open, and then it turns red. So that was the disconnect today, was the 15 minute and the 5 minute were actually pointing up instead of down. So now let's go into the 5 minute and I can show you my actual entries that I had. So what I wanted to see, you can see the pre-market high and then is here, and then the next high is here, and then market open went here. So this wick went above the prior wick and almost above the pre-market high. And that's what I really wanted to see, was this candle break up and close. So the pre-market high, orb range high was right here. So we did break above the orb high, and we wicked into the high back here. We wicked into the high back here, but we didn't close above it. You can see in order to close above it, we'd had to have closed just a little bit higher than we did, but the system said to take the long because we broke above the orb high. So I took the long, even though I didn't like it. I really didn't like that area right there. And if you've seen some of my prior videos, you probably know my trading strategy is I enter whatever the system says, long, short, and I calculate based off of the auto TP or the range trade, depending on the setup for the day. This may not show properly because we're later on in the day, but we were about 90 points. Yeah, so 98 points on the range. The stop loss for the auto TP was only about 44 at the time. And I didn't like that either, because the 44 point stop loss put my stop loss, instead of down here where it is, it put it like right here. And I just didn't, I'm like, we got this wick right here. If we do a wick test, like I really didn't like it. I was like, I want to be down below this no wick candle right here. No wick on this body. So I moved it. It was like 77 points is what it ended up being. And as you can see, I did get stopped out on this candle right here. So then I said, okay, if we break below the 15-minute orb range, I'm going to double my contract size and go short. And the double, as I said before, if you've seen some of the previous videos, the double is already in my mind when I take my first trade for the day. If the first trade loses, I double up either on the S2, the S3, or the flip, depending on what the market is. In today's day, you can see we did enter. Let me move it over. It's kind of hard to see because of this pane here, but you can see L1, and then right here, the X, that means flip. So we took the flip trade with the double amount of contracts, and you can see right here at this middle of this 4 hour fair value gap is where my target was. And we actually wicked all the way through it and then came back up and then went higher. So I was trading from my computer for the first trade, and I took the second trade entry on my computer as well, trading from Tradeovate, not Ninja Trader like I normally do. Normally I have a nice setup you see my videos recorded from, and that's my Ninja Trader setup. But I can trade from Tradeovate as well, and I have an app on my phone for Tradeovate. So I took the trade based on what I was seeing and knowing I was going to be out today, coming to the open house at 11. So I took the trade long on the computer and I copied my two accounts. On Tradeovate, you can set up groups. So I created a group with my eval account and my funded account to trade them together because I liked the setups for the day. So I took the trade and lost, and then I entered the second trade and won. So I'm going to show you the Tradeovate account real quick. Okay, so here is the evaluation account. You can see the LFE right here at the top here. You can see there's a sell for, buy for, and then the canceled buy for. So there was only one trade with 4 contracts taken in the eval account. And I'll show you the balance. I made $670 in that account today. If I look at the orders on the other account, here you can see there's more. There's the 2. See, limit to sell, and then sell to field, and then buy to field. That trade was the initial long that I took, and then you can see the buy for or sell for and buy for that were field when I took the short. So I only made $330 in this account. So I'm really not sure why the eval account did not take the long trade. Something, somehow, with the Tradeovate desktop app, I messed up somehow and didn't take that eval. I'm not complaining about it because obviously I made more money in the eval account. But what I don't like is this could have happened in the opposite direction. Or, if I took the loss on the eval and the funded and then took the flip and only the eval took the flip and the funded didn't, I would still be sitting at a negative 340 on the day in the funded account instead of a positive 330, if things had been reversed. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know why it didn't take that trade initially, but ultimately the day ended up green and ultimately the trade played out. One thing I do want to mention coming back here, I had to leave, and this actually shows the time right here, so this is pretty good. I had to leave at 10:15. Right here was 10:15. This is when I left. I entered a little bit before. I left at 10:15, and I had to go to Walmart because I had to get some things before the open house. I got to Walmart at about 10:25, and I was in listening to the live team talk and everything that I trade with every morning. While they're talking, I'm like, all right, I got to run in. We are selling down. I'm liking what we're seeing. I go into Walmart and I'm like running around trying to get everything as quickly as I can so I can come back out. And I hear Mike say, "Full transparency here, guys. I'm closing everything out." And I'm like, oh no, what happened? Let me go look at it. So I pulled up Tradeovate, nothing. And if you've ever been in Walmart, you know the service sucks. Couldn't pick anything up. So I come out of Walmart, I get in the car, I open up Tradeovate, and I see that this spike down had happened and that my positions are closed. And I'm like, woo, awesome. Like, so glad that happened. And I wanted to take a moment to touch on this. This is the way I trade and the way I like to trade, because once I put in my entry, I don't have to babysit the trade all day long. I can, and I do a lot of times. But one thing that I'm starting to realize is a lot of these trades, if you go back and watch some of the other videos, I'm not at home or I'm off doing something else or checking something else while the take profit gets triggered or something. A lot of times when I am home and I'm sitting there watching the trade, I get nervous and wind up closing the trade out early because it didn't go all the way to TP or something like that. And then it will. Now, there's other times as well that I'll close out the trade and it was a good thing that I closed it out. But the thing that I'm really trying to lean on more is following the system for what the system is, have my take profit, have my stop loss in mind beforehand, like I always do, and then just leave them alone and don't try to micromanage the trade once I'm in it. and just let it do its thing. And another thing that I'm trying to do too is I'm focusing on the system the way it is. But like I said, this first trade back here, I did not like this trade. I didn't like this trade at all, but I still took it because the system said to. I didn't like yesterday's trade. Let me go back to yesterday. Yesterday's trade, I didn't like it either because we were moving down into a support when we took the trade. I had this support area box drawn around right through here. Whoops. Right through here. You can see I took the entry here. My target was down here. Stop was up here. My entry was right into this support area, and I didn't like it. I still took it because the system said to, but I'm trying to follow the system mechanically while at the same time focus on my discretion a lot more and being like, I don't really like this. You know, this is a C trade versus a A trade, and managing it that way to the point of some just no trade days. Like yesterday really was a no trade day. I wish I hadn't even traded at all yesterday. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something.